mother grew up wanting to be a wife and mother, period. She didn't want to be a doctor or an astronaut. Her profession of choice was to be a spouse and a mother. This is one of the multitude of ways I'm exactly like her. Growing up, I didn't put much thought into what career I'd choose because I didn't see a career as something that brings fulfillment and happiness. Rather, just like my mom, I wanted to find someone to love me who would love me equally in return. In my teens and 20s, I would have described myself as a hopeless but utterly hapless romantic. In my quest to find love, I learned that the object of my quest was misguided, and I learned a few important lessons along the way I wanted to share with you, so that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. My first girlfriend, if you can call her that, was Kristen at age 12. Her family and mine went to the same church, and we were the same age. At some point, and much to my surprise, she started flirting with me. I'd never before imagined that any girl would be remotely interested in me, so when one was, I was sort of in heaven. But Kristen was probably fumbling about trying to make sense of these preteen feelings, and she turned out to be like a cat playing with a mouse. Once she caught me, she had no idea what to do with me and she dropped me straight away. This was utterly confusing to me. First, I was astonished that any girl would have any interest in me at all. And second, once I believed she really did like me and responded to it, she immediately stopped talking to me. We had this one weekend at South Padre Island and I got to hold her hand, and wow, that was amazing. I mean it. Touch is potent, and to touch another human and not have them reject it is very powerful. But after that, she wouldn't talk to me anymore, or even acknowledge my existence. Shortly thereafter, her family moved to Georgia. I don't know that I learned anything really useful from that brief and baffling experience, other than infatuation can be a strange and unpredictable thing. Notice I don't use the word love here, because I guarantee whatever relationship you have in the 6th grade is not love. It's a crush, and it's not terrible. It can actually be really wonderful while it lasts, and it will absolutely happen to you at some point, probably sooner than I would prefer. Don't panic. It's normal. My next girlfriend wasn't until I was 16 and I started dating Shelly. I'm sorry I couldn't find a photo of her, but she was a very short, pretty, blue-eyed Mormon girl, and the first girl I kissed. Shelly's family moved to Oregon at the end of the school year. But from my relationship to Shelly, I learned that love does not envy. I used to eat lunch with the same group of guys, Danny, Tommy, Javier, and that school year, Shelly. At one point, Danny, whom I'd known since kindergarten, confessed to me that he liked Shelly too, even though I was dating her. And I had a funny reaction. I expected myself to be angry, to be jealous, but I wasn't, not even a little. Instead, and much to my own surprise, I thought that if I thought she was so great, it was entirely reasonable that Danny would feel the same way. From this, I learned that jealousy is about possession, ownership, and greed, while love is about a selfless desire for another's joy and betterment. Shelly and I were never in any danger of getting married, but I did wonder later what might have happened had things turned out that way. And I don't see it going well. You should marry someone who is not exactly like you, because someone exactly like you would be utterly boring. Someone who's different from you can expose you to new things, challenge you where you're weak, and build you up. They can make up for your shortcomings, and you can do the same for them. But marrying someone who believes fundamentally different from you can be catastrophic. A Christian marrying a non-Christian will inevitably lead to some serious strife in the relationship because you disagree with the fundamental nature of the universe. You'll end up arguing about whether to pray at dinner, or go to church, or definitely how the kids will get raised. Shelly and I had some very interesting discussions about religion, but had this become a long-term relationship, those discussions would have become damaging arguments. Shelly taught me the importance of being equally yoked. Dating isn't a sport. It has some serious potential consequences, not the least of which is someone could really legitimately fall for the other, and when the breakup comes, it can do real and lasting damage. You don't want to be the one who does that to someone. Be that heartbreaker. Dating is about getting to know each other and developing trust, and if you shatter that trust, believe me, it hurts. If you already know you'd never marry this person, don't waste your time or theirs by dating them. You might miss someone who might be a great match for you because you're involved with someone else. Maybe that guy would be perfect for you, but never asks you out because he respects the relationship you're in, or vice versa. So please, only date the ones that you have a genuine interest in and probably already know really well, and be fast friends with the others. To be clear, Tiffany was not my girlfriend, not ever, not even close. But I include her on this list anyways because of something I learned from my relationship with her. Sometimes in your life, you'll meet someone and armed only with what they look like and sound like, you'll create an entire person, complete with backstory. This imaginary person will wear their face, have their voice, and answer to their name, but they will not be the same person, not remotely. You may develop feelings for this person you've imagined regardless of the person they really are. You'll like the idea of them without really knowing them. This, dearest girls, is called a crush, and it is as normal as it is inevitable. Often in the fantasy of a crush, you'll imagine the object of your crush needs you in some way. Maybe you'll imagine they'll break up with their current partner so you can rush in and console them. Maybe you'll imagine they're in some manufactured danger that only you can rescue them from. If that's what's in your mind, it's a sure sign what you have is a crush, not love. Love is not selfish. Love builds up the other and does not make them any less than they are. Real love doesn't need you because it's not about you. If you think the object of your affection needs you to fix them and only you can mend their wounds, then it's about you, not them, and it's not love. Love will still want to mend a broken heart or heal a wound, but it'll be about what that person needs, and that might not include you. Real love will never ask you to take this drug, will never make you do anything you have cause to be ashamed of, and will never, ever want to put the object of your affection in some sort of pain or danger just so you can save them. True love will instead build you up, make you better, encourage you to choose the right and be virtuous. I had a crush on Tiffany my senior year, but fortunately I knew it for just what it was, just a crush, so I never did anything stupid because of it. Instead, I found the perfect cure for a crush is to get to know that person in a non-dating relationship. The fiction you've created in your head will be pushed out by the person they really are. Sometimes you'll find that you don't like them at all, they're nothing like what you imagined, and you don't care for them. Other times, like I did with Tiffany, you'll find they're an amazing human being, and you really, really like them. Just not in any romantic way. The summer of 1993, I met the amazingly outgoing Carla. It was my first summer working at Frontier Camp, and we became good friends. Her best friend Andy and my best friend, who you know as Uncle Bones, also worked there, and they were dating. So because they thought it was cute, Uncle Bones started pressuring me to go out with Carla, and Andy started pressuring Carla to go out with me. Being the good friends that we were, and also because we were morons, we did, and it was a disaster. I very nearly lost a very good friend because things just got awkward. We had no business dating, no business trying to force a romance that wasn't there. We were really good friends and should have stayed that way. 2 quick points here. All great loves are based on respect and friendship, but this does not mean you should date the friends that you respect. Don't try to force a romance where it just doesn't belong. Do not succumb to peer pressure. Don't treat affection like a game. Someone will get hurt. The summer of 1994, it happened all over again. My dear friend Glenn Kelly decided that I would be a great match with Hillary, and he took every opportunity to try to persuade me to ask her out. In my defense, I'd learned my lesson from Carla not to succumb to peer pressure. However, Glenn was also extremely persistent. Also, I'm a flaming idiot, so I eventually came to believe that maybe Glenn had a point. He did not. Hillary was a very nice girl, but there was no spark, and trying to make one just made me a fool. So, this is easier when you know yourself really well, know your own strengths and your weaknesses, and know what you want in a match. Such self-knowledge is really, really difficult to come by, especially when you're a teenager. It's not until your upper teens that you start to make your own decisions and face your own consequences for them. But I fell for the same trap twice. So all I can really say is, be careful. And there you have it. 4 young women in 7 years. All of them failed relationships, but no one got hurt too badly. And each failure was instructive. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of other points that don't fit as a lesson that I learned from any one person. They're just more general. First, looks ain't everything. I found that looks can get someone's attention, but only her character can make them stay. Men used to drool over Elizabeth Taylor because of how she looked, but even Elizabeth Taylor eventually looked like Elizabeth Taylor. Looks don't last, so don't let it be the basis for your affection. While I find that it's important to be attracted to the person you're with, I also find that love makes them attractive. There were a lot of very pretty girls of outstanding character around when I first fell in love, and I noticed that they all faded away, grew grayer somehow, while the one I loved grew more beautiful and bright. I only had eyes for her, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. Don't let your looks define your own self-worth or your attraction to another. Don't let your relationship define you. You are you, not the relationship you're in. In high school, I noticed there's a class of people I call serial daters. Serial daters must at all times be dating someone. When one dating relationship sputters and dies, they immediately pick up or are picked up by another, and I noticed they seem to define their self-worth by who they were dating. I find this philosophy outright dangerous. You are not the person you are dating, and you are not your relationship to them or lack thereof either. You are you. If you define yourself that way, I think it indicates that you may not know who you are. You need to back off and take some time to meditate, self-examine, and make your own choices. There was one more girl this helpless, hapless romantic dated before I met your mom. She was my first love, and my finest, if harshest, teacher. Talk about her in part 2.